Good afternoon and welcome to our panel on recovering resources from industrial wastewater. If you want to learn about industrial symbiosis and large-scale circular economy solutions, then you are indeed in the right place. My name is Stuart Ragaluth and I'm the founder of Revolve, the communication group fostering cultures of sustainability. I'm honored to be moderating this session today that fits well within the overall theme of the 2021 Amsterdam International Week, which is, and I quote as a reminder to our viewers, blue-green deals with integrated solutions. That's the theme of this year's AIWW. Okay, so we will hear from our four esteemed speakers in turn. But before we start, for our viewers, please feel free to add comments or questions in the chat here or in the Q&A that you can see on the right of the screen. I will try to pick them up and refer to in the sessions after we hear the presentations. If you're on social media, please use hashtag AIWW2021. I will also put that in the chat when I pass the floor on. So without further ado, let us begin with Mr. Roelof Moll, who is Executive Coordinator of the Zero Brine Project, an EU-funded Horizon 2020 project with some 22 partners from 10 countries, which we'll hear about more presently. And Roelof is also manager of the hydraulic structures and flood risk section at TU Delft. Roelof, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Stuart. It's my pleasure to present to you highlights and key results of Zero Brine, a project that has been running now for 4.5 years and is getting to its final stage. As most of you will be aware of, brine is saline wastewater, and Zero Brine aims at getting that wastewater stream to zero, in particular by reusing the valuable water and also the minerals that are inside the brine stream. So we are aiming towards a circular economy approach. My name is Roelof Moll. I'm Executive Project Coordinator for Zero Brine and working at TU Delft in the Netherlands. Within Zero Brine, in the last 4 years, we have developed 4 demonstration sites in different European countries in different industrial sectors. On the map, you can recognize more or less the shape of Europe, and with gray colors, the dark gray colors are the countries where our partners are having their residence, and in the pink colors are the countries where we developed the demonstration sites. I'll lead you through those sites in a minute. Our whole setup has been originating from the SPIRE roadmap, has been defined in the years 2010 to 2015, and is now developing inputs for the further European process towards energy transition and circular economy under processes for planet. Our first pilot I'd like to present is in the sector of demineralized water. It's in the Netherlands, and we worked closely together with one of our partners, that is Evides Industrial Water. We built a pilot site having 2 different large-scale experiments in an area of about 200 square meters. You can see in the pictures where we have been working, and we have been applying a selected set of technologies, we call it Zero Brine technologies, to optimize the regaining of the minerals from the dimming water. We made, for instance, use of technologies like nanofiltration, like crystallization. We had a large evaporator coming from Greece. We applied NIX technologies and also eutectic freeze crystallizator. The results are depicted in the picture. You see we have high purity results on the recovery of calcium, of magnesium and sulfate, ready for external valorization, and the purity levels are indicated. Our second demonstration plant is in a different sector. That's in the mining sector in Poland at the Roelof mine, where we can report as results from experiments we did there and the demonstration we performed an impressive amount of reduction in the carbon dioxide emissions, substantial reduction in energy, also 33%, and high level of resources recovery, water as well as salts in high purity concentrations. Magnesium hydroxide recovery for external valorization, and gypsum. Our third demonstration plant is in Spain at the IQE, where silica is mined. And on the picture you see how the glass is processed coming out of the hot oven. We achieved there a substantial, a very large reduction of brine discharge to the environment, and that is in this case the Ebro River. There is a permit valid that limits the amount of brine that is possible for the company to discharge into the river. And by applying the technologies we implemented, it is now possible for the IQE to double its capacity while staying within the limits of the permit. So this is a very attractive business case to pursue. The results include a strong reduction in sodium sulfate, as well as an impressive amount of tons of CO2 reduction per year, with recovered resources, as mentioned, sodium sulfate, sodium hydroxide, and sulfuric acid. Our fourth demonstration plant is in Turkey, into the industrial sector of the textile industry, which uses a huge amount of water and also chemicals for the dyeing process. And this we achieved reductions of up to 95% of the brine discharge to the environment, and also a large amount of the reduction in CO2 emissions, with recovery of water and salts for on-site dyeing of the textiles. In addition to those demonstration plants, we have been investing in developing knowledge centers. We call them brine excellence centers, and we did that in 5 countries: the Netherlands, Spain, Italy, Greece, and Poland, where the knowledge can be accessed by all parties that have interest in applying that, and support can be given in the proliferation of those technologies. In addition, we have been developing simulation software. Some of the partners have been working very hard on this, which enable to simulate the impact of a possible setup for brine technologies, zero brine technologies, and allowing to evaluate the effectivity of the proposed technology setup, as well as the energy reduction or energy cost, and as well as the total cost of the setup. So that can all be evaluated by simulation prior to making the actual investments. This package is now in transformation to get an open access possibility, so I think it could be highly relevant for future application of the zero brine technologies. An additional feature we've been working on within our consortium is the development of an online brine platform. That's a matchmaking platform between brine suppliers and salt users. So on the one hand, we have developed a large database. Our Greek partners have been working on that, and in the Netherlands it has been applied, trying to include all known large brine producers into that database, and to allow for a possibility online to match the brine providers, specifying the characteristics of their offer to the potential customers being the salt users. And this is all connected through solution providers, those that have the possibility to advise on the proper setup for the technologies to apply to make this match happen. This has also been supported by several training sessions, and the perspectives are to further roll out this matchmaking platform within Europe. Another activity under our project is being to develop the European Union policy, as many of the existing European policies are not directed towards circularity. So we have reviewed the Industrial Emissions Directive and the Zero Pollution Strategy, but we decided that it should be highly recommended to have a separate EU directive to support circularity in production, where the zero brine technologies could be applied as best available techniques. The investments in circular innovations can be supported by a clever mix of taxes and subsidies, which would definitely help Europe forward in circularity. And a very simple practical example of what happens as soon as you try to transfer waste into a product is that you immediately have to pay for the CO2 emission rights, which definitely does not support this transition. I'm getting to the final slide. I would like to bring to your attention how we are looking forward. The technology developed is available and of course need permanent further development and sharing. The matchmaking platform is rolling out. Policy development should definitely include EU regulations on circularity, stimulation, and further on we envisage sectoral development through more inspiring business cases, for instance, in the food and beverage industry, which also produces a lot of brine. This is an overview of the partners, the 21 partners that have been and are working in our consortium on zero brine, coming out of 10 different European countries. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Roelof, for those insights into a successful H2020 project called Zero Brine. Some very nice results have come to bear. Thanks for that. We'll come back to it in the discussion. Now I'm going to pass the floor to Mrs. Chrysi Laspidou, who is, allow me to introduce her briefly. She's a professor at the Civil Engineering Department from the University of Thessaly in Greece, and she is Vice President of Research and Technology for Water Europe, which most of you are probably familiar with. It's a large European network. Chrysi, the floor is yours. You need to unmute yourself. Voila.
Are you seeing my screen now?
Good to go.
Yes, all right, thank you. Okay, so thank you. Thanks for inviting me here. It's very exciting to be here. So other than a professor at the University of Thessaly, I'm also the Vice President of Research and Technology at Water Europe. So I will cover a bit what we do in Water Europe on that. Okay, so climate neutrality and circular economy. Of course, we link circular economy and what we are trying to do closely with being climate neutral and trying to do our part towards achieving the SDGs and the sustainability. So, of course, process industries are the ones that convert raw material into materials that are used by other industrial actors, so the manufacturing industry. So they are a very important part of the value chain. So when we are trying to close the loops, in terms of circularity, we definitely have to focus on process industries. We have the plan is that in the next 3 decades, we will transform into circular and climate neutral industries. And that's definitely not easy. A lot needs to be done in order for these goals to be achieved. This cannot happen without the process industries. And of course, the shift needs to be systemic, and it can never be done in a fragmented manner. It can never be done with only a few actors being mobilized. We need a systemic socioeconomic approach. I mean, specifically, climate change is so complex. And it touches on so many different securities, water security, energy security, resource security in general, food, all these things. So we need to have this holistic approach and to bring the actors in. I think this will be the focus of what my message will be today, that we should not only focus our vision on the technological approaches. Not only the technologies will get us there. Usually we're well advanced in that area, but we need, in order to achieve the transition, we need to bring also the people and to invest effort in the socioeconomics and identifying what is it that needs to change in that setting. Definitely industry is one of the main water users in Europe. A large percentage of total water abstractions are attributed to industrial water use, about 40%. While we have been treating our wastewaters for some time now, removing organic pollution, however, even though water is by itself circular, and that we have the water cycle that actually takes water from one form to the other, the water sector is not yet there. So we have over 40,000 million cubic meters per year of wastewater that is treated, but only a small fraction of that is being reused. 964 million cubic meters. So one hopeful thing here is that there is a lot of room for improvement. So we are not there yet, and we have a lot of work to do. So we need to, all gather our resources and try to do the right moves in order to achieve our goals. So symbiosis with urban wastewater is one of the ways. Circularity, of course, of industrial wastewater, in order to go for near zero water discharge, and also to, of course, to valorize a lot of the components in the wastewater, including heat and energy. And this will be the way to reach a future-proof, what we call a future-proof European water smart society. The idea is to not stay in the old paradigm of wastewater treatment plants, but to start talking about wastewater resource recovery facilities. In essence, making waste, assigning the value to waste that it deserves, and not treating it as a valuable stream. Why would it be valuable? Because there is many nutrients, inorganics, and organics in water that can be recovered in wastewater. Of course, we definitely need to eliminate the hazardous substances that cannot be recovered. And we want to extract energy also as much as possible, to reuse in order to not produce wastewater. Nothing should go to waste. When we speak about zero waste, we mean pure reuse, 100% reuse, or close to that. And always we know that in order for these processes to succeed, we need the sensors, we need the data, we need the decision support systems, and all of this. So these processes are very much data intensive, and they involve a lot of the data that should be managed with the use of artificial intelligence in order to reach maximum efficiency. Usually there is also a lot of sectors that are being involved. When you speak about the models and the data, you might have various time steps, various variables, formats, sensors producing different outputs, sometimes using proprietary software, and all these are all these are barriers to reaching this our goal of unifying all these different inputs into one coherent data set that could be used and processed in order to achieve optimal operation. So this cross-sectorial cooperation is very important. We know that urban waste, is done differently. The actors are different. Maybe this, like I said, the softwares are different sometimes. The sensors used, the systems, the SCADA, all these different things need to overcome in order to achieve this systematic, maybe sometimes a semantic analysis, a homogenization of the data. That it may sound, simple, but it's not. Usually, this is where things stop and don't advance. So, if we imagine in a real industrial-urban symbiosis, we need to focus on these issues of homogenization of the data and standardization. I think this is the word I was looking for. Okay,
standardization. Okay, about 2 minutes, yeah, Chrysi?
Yes. All right. Okay. No need to say in this crowd that we need to separate, invest in separation technologies, valorization of the different materials in wastewater, and alternative processes. So the vision of Water Europe, let me just say a couple of things, is for reuse, is for actually taking these products and closing the loops for water and resource and keep it closed. And in order to achieve this, we speak about water of multiple qualities, so multiple waters. We employ the digitalization throughout, so we speak about digital water, and we valorize the what is in the water, so we talk about the value of water, and we invest in green or hybrid gray-green infrastructure that will, this includes nature-based solutions and other such ideas that will bring us closer to the idea. So, and as I said before, future-proof means resilient, and it means to take all this, the multiple waters, the valorizing, and the rational use of water in the market. And this is how we're going to get to a water-smart society and a water-smart economy. Greenhouse gas emissions need to go to zero, in order to achieve the climate neutrality. And I just want to finish by saying that Water Europe is engaged in a couple of these important Horizon Europe partnerships. One is Processes for Planet, which is what Spire has evolved to, and then there is Water for All, which is a partnership aiming at boosting these systemic transformations across the entire innovation pipeline and value chain. And Water Europe is at the heart of these two partnerships. Thank you.
Efaristo. Thanks to you, Chrysi, for the overview and for the insights into some of Water Europe's projects. I see that we've had quite a few people join us over the past minutes. So for the newcomers, as you listen to Dimitris and Noura coming up, please pop your questions or comments in the chat on the right of your screen. So Dimitris, Dr. Xevgenos is the link, the linchpin between many of the topics discussed today. Very briefly, Dr. Xevgenos is innovation manager of the Zero Brine project, and in parallel as overlap, he is executive coordinator of the water mining project. He's also involved in a LIFE project about brine and mining in Poland, I believe, but I will now pass the floor to him to explain more. Dimitris?
Thank you very much, Stuart. Can you hear me well? Excellent.
Good to go.
Until I load my presentation, I hope you can see my screen.
We can see the screen, yes.
So
there it is.
Excellent. At full presentation mode, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, all right. So I'm so happy that I'm speaking after Chrysi Laspidou because he spoke about the water smart economy. That is the future model, not only for water in Europe, of course, but for all of us. And I'm going to speak exactly about that, of building on a water smart economy society in the context of circular economy. I am Dimitris, Xevgenos, as Stuart already announced. So let's see now, first of all, is circular economy an important issue for the European Union? And let's see what is the reply from Arnoldas Miloukas. Arnoldas Miloukas, he is the head of Unit B3, Biodiversity, Circular Economy and Environment from the Research Executive Agency. And then when he met us in the kickoff for the new projects within the Building Water Smart Economy, he told us that let's now evaluate within Horizon 2020 how many projects were related in circular economy and water. So then he told us, he informed us, he reported that 84 projects in total were granted. Zero brine, of course, and water mining being 2 of them. And in total, the European Commission invested $500 million only for water and circular economy topics, because it is extremely important to link that. It is the natural starting point of getting circular economy through getting the resources from the wastewater. Now, water mining. The title of this project, Next Generation Water Smart Management Systems, Large-Scale Demonstrations for a Circular Economy and Society. As an overview, we are 38 partners from 12 countries, quite a huge consortium and a really challenge for me to coordinate. It is being coordinated by TU Delft, Applied Sciences faculty. In total, we have a 19 million project, and we started last September, and it is a 4-year project. Now here you can see the partners involved, just to understand the complexity that we need, because as Chrysi said, systemic innovation is crucial. So you don't need only technology, but you need a lot of other expertises, like circular economy, business modeling, and policy. Now, the concept of the project. We see water throughout the value chain. So this means that water can be seen either as a resource or as a product. And if a product, it can be a consumable or a durable good. And then we deploy case studies for each of these lines of research and demonstration. So we have within water mining, the sea mining line, which is water as a resource, then water as a consumable, urban mining, and water as a durable, the industrial mining. Let's now see a little bit that all these case studies, of course, we have horizontal topics, and data mining, also like Chrysi said, about getting from the sensors, from the data, developing dashboard applications. Augmented reality, these are very much important to provide new services. Now, for each of these case studies, I would like to give more information. For the sea mining line, we have 2 case studies. The idea there is to get zero liquid discharge from the seawater desalination sector, something really, I think, important also for Neon, but will speak after me. We're getting the resources, but very much important here is the water energy nexus. So we have 2 case studies. In Italy, in Lampedusa Island, we are sourcing all the energy, or most of the energy, from a power factory. So there is waste heat integration with our processes. Now in Spain, Almeria, we are doing that in Plataforma Solar de Almeria. That is the largest solar institution in Europe. And we're getting this energy from renewable energy sources, from solar energy. urban mining cases now. Within this line of research and demonstrations, we are targeting the urban wastewater. So we have 4 different case studies looking also at different topics like nutrient recovery, energy recovery, biopolymers. We have one in the Hague, not Delft, as you can see there, that is a mistake. One in Portugal, Faro, one in Larnaca, Cyprus, and one in Barcelona, in Spain. The final line of demonstrations is the industrial mining. So that is about industrial wastewater. For this, we have water as a durable good. Why? Because we want to see water in a closed loop, being used over and over again. And we have one case study, which is the major case study in the chlorine cluster in Rotterdam Port. There we have the chlorine producer, which is Nobian, and one of the 3 chlorine consumers, that is Hexion, an epoxy resin producer, working in a very nice collaboration to recycle this stream back to the producer of chlorine. And then we have a replication case study in India for a sugar factory. Yeah, that is a big table. We don't need to go into detail, but the most important is that, of course, for all of these case studies, we have a capacity. These are pre-industrial scale. So you can see in the 3rd column, the capacity, we have 5 hours. So that is really important to have pre-industrial demonstrations so that we can connect to the market exploitation later on. Yeah, and these are the case studies mapped here in this European map. Also, we have India. But what I would like to stress here is that we are collaborating not only internally with our 37 partners from TU Delft, but also externally. Because as I told you, we are we're a family of 5 projects for the water smart economy and society. And here you can see all the projects and all the case studies. Let me name them. It's Reways, Ultimate, Water Mining, our project, Big Water Smart, and Wider Uptake. Altogether, we have 35 case studies. So we're working together to see how we can really implement a water smart economy and society. Here you can see our logo. We are working very closely together. I'm leading this group of projects. And in total, we have a much, much bigger impact. And that is exactly what we want to see, how we can really build a water smart economy and society together. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Dimitris, for that overview of water mining and the bigger picture, part of those 5 projects that are really leading the water smart society in Europe. And interestingly, the inclusion of India going beyond Europeans' borders, which is quite a nice touch. And today, I'm very happy and honored to welcome Mrs. Noura Chehab, who's joining us, actually flew in yesterday from Saudi Arabia, and who will be talking about Neom, which is a new zero-emission city in the northwest of Saudi Arabia. And before I pass the floor to you, Noura, I just wanted to introduce you briefly. So Ms. Noura Chehab is the Water Research and Innovation Manager for Business Development within the water sector at Neom. I will pass the floor to you, and I'm sure there will be plenty of questions about your work. Please, Pandemic. You just need to unmute.
Exactly. I just want to unmute myself. Thank you very much. Let me know if you can see my screen.
It's all good.
Thank you very much for having me today. And it's really a pleasure to be with you. We were actually watching all the activities and the sessions that have been coming from the Zero Brine Forum. And we are very interested in all the outcomes, and it's really a pleasure to be part of the discussion today. So I would like to let you know more information about Neom and where we are and what we are doing. So Neom, what's Neom? Neom is the land of the future. Is our objective is really to create a model of what the world will look like in the future. Maintaining our objective will achieve the innovative circular economy approach And our also idea is really to generate everything innovative by renewable energy. Actually, we consider NEOM is the place where all talented people and innovative and the people who have innovations will come together to build it. It's a blank page, completely without any infrastructure, pure area with a great landscape and environment. And it's an economic engine for our region in the Middle East and for the world. Also, it's a powerful approach to conserve the environment. So we care about the environment, our people, and the governance. We want to create the regulations and the law that will support the international community to come and build with us the future city. The scale of NEOM is the size of Belgium. So it's actually, we're talking about a state, not a company or a town. It's a state actually, and it's the size of Belgium, and it's 3 times size of Singapore. And because we care about the environment, we will be just developing 4 to 5% of the whole area of NEOM. So NEOM in numbers, by 2030, we are expecting over 1 million of residents. We will have around 100,000 robots with digital nomads. We will have 2 airports, so we are expecting over 5 million of tourists. All the area will be running by renewable energy. I'm not sure if you have heard in the news about the mega project and the alliance that with Aquapower to build the hydrogen production plant in the region. I think it's one of the biggest plant all over the world. So it's about you just put your innovation or your technology, plug it, and it will be run by renewable energy. And with our investments and our sectors around NEOM, we will be able to create lots of jobs by 2030, over 500,000. And we're going to contribute in the GDP of the kingdom. So what will take us to go there? Of course, we have to make the business easy, especially when you look at the Middle East. So our NEOM will be a semi-autonomous place. Will ensure the fair competition between people, between companies. We will have the state-of-the-art design for construction codes. Our regulation will make sure no bureaucracy, and we will try to support all the international companies to come and open their businesses in NEOM. So we are building the city of the future at the time when we all need new solutions, creating novel technologies. We want fresh thinking. So why NEOM is interesting? Because we have a prime location. We are very close to Europe. 4 or 5 hours you will be in Europe. We have a port close to NEOM. And I don't know if I have mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, NEOM is located on the northwest of Saudi Arabia, and it's very, very close to Europe. And at the same time, we are building everything from scratch. So that's also a plus, an advantage for us, because you don't have the infrastructure already built. So you need to redesign things, or you need to put or fix what have been done in the infrastructure. It's pure area. You can just put and design the latest technology to make it happen. We have a diversified economy. We will have our law and regulation to support the economy. We are in harmony with nature. It's an international project, but at the same time is supported by Saudi government. And we will make sure all the members of NEOM are kind of have the same initiative and our ambition. And at the same time, we will put the great minds with us to build the future. So we have many sectors in NEOM. I'm representing the water sector today. And we have around 14 to 16 sectors between water, energy, mobility, health and well-being, art and design, tourism, sport, food as well. So our vision is really to create water reference, and it's globally and locally as well. Why? Because we are not thinking just about conserving the water. We are thinking to enhance the water, to make it better, to put the smart infrastructure. We have an opportunity here to build everything from scratch. We want to reduce the loss of the water in the distribution system, for example. In Middle East is around 30%. I think that's the average all over the world. I know that in Europe is less. I know that in Singapore is less. The percentage is better. But generally, the loss of the water is an issue. So that's why we want to have the smart infrastructure built, monitoring the water, the quality of the water, also in the system here, and at the same time, everything will be supported by the great minds with innovation and technology or new technology. So for the brine business, actually the demand of the water will be high by 2030. So we will have over 5 million people in the region. So definitely we will need million cubic meter of water and more. So all our regulation is supporting zero waste. So we cannot dump back anything to the sea. And as you know, since we want to conserve the environment, so we are not allowed to extract groundwater. So all the water supply will rely on the desalination plants. And we're gonna build it in different phases. The first phase, we are expecting to produce around 500,000 cubic meter. So definitely cubic meter a day. So definitely we don't want to dump any brine or salt to the sea. And that's also opportunity for us, because to support the circular economy vision, to reduce the waste, we will have to create valuable products out of the sea, out of the salt or the desalination plants and the brine processes. I think that's one of the economical viable products that we will have in NEOM. So as you can see here, our approach is really to have high recovery water coming out of the desalination plant. We will have, in partnership with big player in water demand, to create different products based on their industries, maybe green PVC, maybe glass, maybe people who works with magnesium hydroxide. Our port is ready close to NEOM border, so we can use that and have the business running. Also, some of the products that we are expecting, we have like between sodium, chloride, magnesium, calcium, potassium. So we have two approach here. From the business development side, we want to work either with the commercial partnership side, which is it's working with a strategic partner, so we can have a partnership with off-takers of the product, or maybe we can engage with developer of such a technology in the brine processes, maybe with investor from the field of water, also with the R&D and innovation side. So we are trying to find an academic partnership, or creating an academic partnership with universities globally and locally. We will sponsor some of that research that aligned with NEOM vision. Also looking for the startups or the companies who have like TR level between 5 to 7. Maybe they want to pilot the technology. So we will have our own innovation hub running close to the desalination plant. So we can just have that innovation hub as a test bed for different technologies. So we looked at the disruptive technologies here also as well in NEOM, because we know that our complex desalination plant, it's hybrid between well-known proven technologies actually. So we will not have something new to extract the brine, but at the same time we redesign some of the processes, but also at the same time aligned with what we are doing, we want to find disruptive technologies in that area. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we care about the environment, the social, the people who are going to live with us. So we give them good rules and regulations as a governance of NEOM to help them to create the business. So from the water R&D and innovation perspective, we would like really to develop and manage new ideas, new technology, and become the center of excellence in water technology. We focus at the water sector on 3 different areas: desalination and brine, which is the core business for us. for us. Building also the smart water infrastructure is a key. So we will have also some activities on smart water industry. Third thing is the reuse and recovery. And by the way, we cannot mention waste name in NEOM because that's against the regulation. So we will have center of excellence in reuse and recovery as well. So as you can see, our water sector or the water company will be aligned with investment and partnership with industrial players and academic as well institutions. And at the same time, we're going to build in the future our applied research institute. We think that with an R&D, we can achieve what we want to achieve by 2024, 2025. And we will have our innovation hub ready to test and pilot some of the technologies. Here it gives you an idea about the zone, the green zone that we will have in NEOM, close to the activities for the water. We will have an innovation campus. It's huge. It will have core facilities, chemical facilities. You will have an accelerator program, funding agencies. We will also have tenants from different companies who would like to, who gonna open their headquarters around that area. So the advantage here is really low cost of water. You will have renewable energy around you. You just plug and play, put your technology over there and test it. Yeah, that's why we encourage people to come and work with us to achieve what we want to achieve. I don't know if I'm already out of the time, but here is just information about the Applied Research Institute. And I want to mention some of the topics that aligned with our discussion today. So we are looking to engage with some of the universities and the R&D centers on these topics, on ZLD, brine extraction, membrane improvement, and at the same time we are doing a project with TU Delft, using the brine in concrete material for non-reinforced modular, or to build a model, and at the same time using the brine as a waste and to create an industrial product. And at the same time, we can at least reduce the use of cement, because we know that the production of cement will produce lots of CO2 and so on. And many more. So we are looking really from this session to grab the attention from the industrial partner, from the academic partners as well, who would like to come and participate with us. And if you want to know more information, that's my email, and you can follow us on all our social media channels as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Noura, for the tour de force of this mega project that's hard to conceptualize like this on a screen. We have about 10 minutes left, and I wanted to follow up going backwards, so with Noura and Dimitris, and then back to Chrysi and Roelof. For people watching us, feel free to drop your questions in the chat and I'll relay them. If you can direct them to one of the speakers, that would be best. Dimitris and Noura, what are the technologies, Dimitris, from water mining, for example, that could be most easily replicated, let's say, by a NEOM or another such city or undertaking that may not be as ambitious as NEOM, okay?
Well, thanks, Stuart. It was a very nice presentation from Noura. Yes, so from water mining, I see 2 case studies that are really interesting maybe for Noura to have a look, because what we are doing within Sea Mining Group, we have technologies to process the brine. For example, you take it freeze crystallization to recover sodium sulfate, and then we have different routes to valorize together with electrodialysis bipolar for caustic soda, sulfuric acid, different routes that we have been implementing. The most important is that we are already at pre-industrial scale, because I see the roadmap ahead, and it is a challenge, I guess, also for NEOM to combine the R&D and the implementation, because they want to do that already by 2030, I understand. So having mature technologies is beneficial, I guess, for this development. So that is important. Now, apart from that, we have put a lot of effort, not only in the technology itself to treat the brine, but also to integrate in an optimum way with energy. Because now solar energy is one thing, and that is extremely important, I guess, since you are developing 100% renewable energy to drive your processes, but also waste heat, because waste heat, it's not something that should go in the past. Why do I say that? Because if you go for concentrating solar power, for example, Noura, you have Rankine cycles, and within the Rankine cycles, you can get waste heat from the concentrating solar power. All this knowledge we have within water mining, and I would be happy to discuss this, even bilaterally, maybe with Noura.
Sure. Go ahead, Noura.
Yeah, that's actually the aim of the discussion today and on 4th of November as well, is really to engage with you and other colleagues on different ideas. I think there are still some room for development. We know that about the waste heat. We are trying to do some investigation and research around that topic. I would be more than happy to discuss it with you. Either today, as I told you before, or tomorrow, and also on 4th of November.
Sure, and maybe another point very, very quickly is that within water mining, we have also supply chains on how to use, for example, sodium chloride. The chlorine sector, using the sodium chloride to produce chlorine, and then downstream users like plastics are really important. I'll leave it here because I don't want to take more time.
Okay, thank you, Dimitris. And Noura, just following up briefly as well, the project you mentioned between renewables and hydrogen, I believe, is the Helios project.
Correct.
With Aqua Power and
Correct.
Air Products and others as a joint venture.
Correct.
Apart from that, I mean, one of the things we saw with Zero Brine with Roelof and colleagues was that the recuperation or the recovery of the mineral magnesium is something that we tried to develop with Zero Brine.
It's challenging,
a little bit.
yeah.
It's challenging, and through the talks I've had with the Helios project, they mentioned that NEOM is actually going to be not only recovering magnesium, but also bringing it to market globally.
Correct. Correct.
Just give us a brief insight into that, and then I want to pass it to Chrysi and Roelof.
So we are doing a visibility study with Worley Parson, a consultation firm, about what are the most, let's say, top 5 products, valuable products out of the brine we can introduce to the market. And magnesium is one of them for sure, and it's very valuable, and I think everyone in the call knows that. How we're going to do it, we're going to run different technologies. As I told you, our main desalination plant will have processes for brine are redesigned, new processes, but it's not something completely out of the box. That's why I said we do have our innovation hub close to the desalination plant where we're going to test some of the disruptive technologies. Our call for the partners and for also the academic partners as well, if they do have some research on the technology that will give pure magnesium, we are ready to engage with them. The purity is the key here. I know that there are some challenges also in the membrane side, but still under discussion, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I cannot tell you that we found the best solution for it.
Yes, no, that's great. And we do have a comment question for you from the audience from Ms. Shakira Jasset, who's asking about whether you have whether there could be room for experimentation with the brine and conceptual design, material research, and she's asking to be in contact with you. So this is the more creative side, I guess, of using the brine for that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
I don't know if I can write my email here, so she's more than welcome to
If you're comfortable dropping it in the chat, then you'll probably get multiple emails after this call.
Because we did a huge study with Delft and with also our colleague in the water sector about the green material, the green cement, and there are. So using brine or using salt or salty water in concrete, it's not something new, by the way. It has been done before. But here we are trying to find, but it didn't work well. So it happened, but it didn't work well. So now the idea is really to use that brine in a different way. So the methodology is the key here. Is not the idea of using the brine with the concrete. Is the methodology and the trade secret of the recipe, what will make the module stronger and it will last longer. So if she wants more information, we can chat out of the
Sure.
the presentation here, but
Thank you,
because
Noura.
it's still under discussion with Delft, I mean, we signed it, but we
That's
need
fine.
to give them some time.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. So Shakira, your dream come true. You have Noura's email. You ladies be in contact. Thank you, Noura, for your input. Chrysi, you talked about water smart societies, which is a rather catchy phrase. Can you give us some more insights into the whole resilient side of things? And when we talk about resilience, of course, we're talking about how to confront climate change on a global level, which is rather daunting. But to be a bit more precise and to try to stay on the topic of industrial wastewater, do you see the measures being more about adaptation or about mitigation when you talk about resilience?
Okay, thank you for this question. Yes, so resilience, I think we should be talking more and more about resilience, especially in the face of climate change. And I wanted to emphasize that resilience should not be seen purely as a technological resilience. And I see a lot of the focus here being on the technologies, on the processes, on the purity of magnesium, on all these purely technical issues. However, we should not limit our vision to only this. It is not, it's for a good reason that in the European Commission there is a lot of talk for these hubs for circularity, for example. So this is all about bringing the stakeholders together and agreeing on this and actually bringing change. So if we want to see, I don't think change happens overnight, usually. So even if a lot of money is poured in a new city, in a new model, which is absolutely brilliant to give the chance to people to, experiment and see this happening in front of our eyes. However, if we want to have long-lasting change, this needs to come, this needs a lot more work with the people, with identifying conflicts, maybe conflicts of interest, conflicts that might be political, geopolitical, trade, prices, a lot of these other things might come in place and, create barriers for this process to move ahead. Of course, we will do it in this city, but then to actually change the way things are done, change from linear to circular, we need to see things more, bringing the people also in it. So that's the bottom line. So
I see. Okay, so it's about people as well.
It's about people, and it's about policies, processes, values, and conflicts. Recognizing those and dissolving those.
Thanks, Chrysi. And so her message is, it's about people and society as well. And Roelof, in closing, in your mind, having led the Zero Brine project and having seen these business models evolving, what's one of the major takeaways for you? I mean, you mentioned that it could be replicated in food and beverage, and you mentioned the matchmaking, and we know that there's been synergies with NEOM, so please.
Yes, well, a key point was, of course, mentioned by Chrysi, that it's all about people, and that's why we have our final forum on Thursday live. We would like to have the interaction of the people to be best placed for distribution of the results and concepts we developed. For instance, just to give a small technical note, I think we can offer quite challenging high-level technologies on the magnesium recovery from brines, and we can demonstrate what we achieved with our partners from Italy, from Palermo, and so. But the interaction of people is what's doing the trick, and that's needed to perform the change that's required to move towards circularity. So that is, in fact, my key message. That be aware of what is possible on the technical side, but be focused on what you can achieve with the people.
And one more little thing, and
Yes.
the ladies, bring the women in.
Well,
Go for gender balance as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
which we did very well on today's panel.
Here in the panel,
Yes.
very good.
It's
Yes,
100% gender balance.
for the
Great.
circularity as
So,
well. The
Thank
women.
you thank you to our excellent panelists today. Thank you for joining us, those who have called in. It's been a pleasure to moderate this. And any follow-up questions, you can reach Noura by email, and you can reach us through the organizers or through our companies. Thank you very much. Join Circularity. Get on the bandwagon. It's the future today, as Noura said, and as we're working on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you. Have a good day.
It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roelof.
Yeah, thanks you as well. I think it went excellent.
Thanks for your patience and endurance. Your
no
resilience.
problem.
I will see you. We still have some viewers, so I'll see you. I'll be coming up tomorrow evening, and I'll see you for sure on Thursday morning.
Yes, we will. All right. Have a
Let
good
me know
day.
if there's anything you need. Okay. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.